So he called me and said, "You have an appointment this Thursday with Warner Huh at UAB." And he said, "I won't take no for answer, and I will come get you and take you." And I went. And it was probably, that fast action. He stepped up and said, "You're doing it." So I thought, I'm doing it. And I did, and it saved my life.
Before we get into today's episode, this is exactly why we do the podcast. This is a story about a young lady from Decatur, Alabama, a town that's produced a lot of quality people going on to do a lot of bigger things. And yes, I'm biased because I'm from there too. She went on to build one of the most successful programs in college golf, coached at Georgia Tech, helped shape players like Stuart Sink, and then faced something a whole lot bigger than golf. What you're going to hear today isn't just about winning SEC championships or building a program at Auburn, although she did that. It's about the people, the relationships, and the moments that actually matter when the game is over.
Yeah, Coach Kim Evans has seen this game from just about every angle. She's got some incredible stories, and one that's really heartwarming when talking about a rival coach, basically husband of a rival coach, saving her life. So let's get into this week's episode with Kim Evans, former Auburn coach.
Welcome back to the Cart Barn, Coach Kim Evans, originally from Decatur. Kim, welcome to the Cart Barn. We're so glad to have you.
I am so happy to be on with you guys, and nice to see you this morning.
We're going to, heretofore, we're going to call you the pride of Decatur, Alabama.
I don't know about that, but I've been fortunate, so fortunate.
Well,
it's good to have you on to tell your stories in the Cart Barn today.
Yeah.
Well,
Kim,
good. Thanks for having me.
Let's start back in Decatur. Growing up in the 60s and 70s in Decatur, just let's talk about the town and what it was like, and then kind of go into golf.
Well, just growing up in Decatur, I just can't imagine having a better childhood and friendships that were so rich and that are still important to me today. I don't know how Decatur does it, but I'm still in a text feed with friends that I had before grammar school, in weddings, and been through ups and downs of life with, and just love them all. And I can't imagine growing up. Now, I was lucky. I grew up with four older brothers who really, I guess they shaped my life in a way through athletics. So, and probably beat me up every day in some form or fashion. But yeah, and I grew up on number 2 hole at Decatur Country Club, and so I grew up playing golf all around the golf course, and just being around a lot of people who supported me and my athletics and my golf. Yeah.
Was it the whole family golfers, or some of your brothers go in different directions, or what?
Well, my dad was an avid golfer, and he loved to fish too, but he was an avid golfer, so he really is the one who had the passion for the game. But all my brothers played in some form or fashion. I think Bobby was a pretty good golfer. A couple of them were pretty decent. And then but they all played some sort of sports growing up. But yeah, and in fact, as time went on, we did get together and play once a year, and all of us would play. But it really came down to me and my father, who played a lot of golf. My mom did not play. So,
Well, what was the golf scene like for young women back in those days? As you know, because today the sport has exploded, obviously, but back
really
then it
has.
wasn't quite as popular.
It wasn't, but it was relevant. So for me growing up, we had a state championship. We had some invitational events around the state. I was lucky in that Martha Jones Lang played at Decatur Country Club, Kathy Farah. I mean, were really strong amateur and professional players, and I kind of fit right into that mode. And so I was just given some great opportunity around the club to be able to play and caddy and shag golf balls on that little driving range just right out front or right outside the back of the golf shop area. But yeah, I was able to play in state events, and then when I went on to play golf at Auburn, we still competed in the SEC and played against Florida and Georgia and Kentucky, and a lot of great teams, and we got to travel to a national championship, and so I think that I was lucky in that I got to still learn to compete, even in Decatur, um, at Decatur Country Club, and you think, it isn't like it is today. Well, it's not. We have the American Junior Golf Association. We have all kinds of junior events and academies and rankings that I wasn't a part of. I got to be a part of coaching it, and recruiting that. But I just feel like I fit right in at the time I needed to be able to play and learn and enjoy a small town in golf.
You mentioned Kathy and Martha. That's a pretty strong triumphant of women golfers in a small town at that point in
At
time.
that point, yeah, and in fact, when I went off to college, a young lady by the name of Nikki Payne won the girls state championship too. So we
That's
had
Yep.
four female junior golfers that were, pretty good players. So yeah, that's a tribute to Decatur. I think that's a tribute to Decatur Country Club and Burning Tree, for us for having junior programs, both
Hmm.
places. I mean, we had a standing 10 o'clock tee time in the summers to go play, and I don't know how many times we might have stopped and went swimming at the pool too, or whatever. But yeah, I think as young juniors, we were given a lot of leeway at the
Mm.
clubs.
I was going to ask you how did the club embrace uh, junior golf and junior girls golf at the time?
At the time, really well. I mean, we very seldom, got we didn't we kind of knew not to play on Saturday or Sunday morning or Wednesday afternoon, but like I said, we always had a tea time. There's always a handful of us that would go play in the summers, and then in the winter and at that. But I can remember in high school golf, they hosted matches and all around Decatur and Burning Tree and in Huntsville, and all the courses just seemed to invite it. I think it was just
Mm.
part of our pros' duty to kind of service our members that way with our juniors.
Did you
Still do
get into
around the
the men's
country.
games at all?
Oh yeah, I did. I was lucky to get in there occasionally.
How much did you take off of them?
We didn't bet that much. I didn't have that much. Still don't,
Yeah.
but a dollar or two here or there. Coke.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had some good
What
matches.
were
You learn how to play. You learn how to play with, the guys were a lot more, aggressive about betting or having fun. So it was always fun to play with all the guys. That's
Mm.
all there was to play. Martha was older than me, and of course Kathy, and then Nikki was younger with me. So my group was always, a handful of the other junior guy golfers.
Who were some of the men groups that you guys played
Well, I
with?
mean, my dad played with, of course, Al Jones and Bill Sexton and a lot of those names, and
Yeah.
I can't remember everybody I played with. I
Yeah.
played a lot of golf with Walton Ashwander growing up, which y'all all know, and I'm a big fan of Walton and
Hmm.
just just the guy. Kenneth Thomas was a big golfer in that area. He lived there on the course over on 15, and it you kind of shaped too the guys that lived around the course a lot.
Hmm.
Ben Wilder used to play a lot of golf during
Yeah.
that time. We just had a group of people that were in and out, and some were older, some were younger. But yeah, I was lucky, and I always had my dad to get out and play some with. But yeah, there's some fun names and fun times way long time ago.
how,
Yeah.
how was there a rivalry with the kids from Burning Tree, and how did that dynamic work out?
Oh no, I don't think so. It was all fun. If you got to go out there and play, it was fun to see all them because we were in all schools together too. And then
Hmm.
if they ever got to stay there, I don't think maybe that formulated after I was gone, but not while I was there. We had just a fun time if we got to play.
Well, now I believe that you and Martha won the state junior and maybe the state girls
Yeah, I
am.
didn't win the state am, but I'm sure I think Martha did. Martha won the state junior like 3 or 4 times in a row.
Hmm.
I only won it once, and I think Kathy won a state am. I'm not sure if she won a junior, but Kathy Fair. I'm pretty sure she won
Yeah.
one of our state ams. Yeah,
Again, that's really strong out of a
yeah.
small club.
Well, Doctor or Bill Curtis, was
Yeah.
instrumental in teaching us all. So
Yeah.
yeah, teaching us those first basics. Yeah, without a doubt.
Mm.
When did you first kind of think your game was good enough to play college?
Uh, I think when you play in the state tournament, you meet other girls that are going to college and you realize that you're playing with them and that was a possibility. And so, probably when I was 15, felt like maybe that's something that I could look in doing. Uh, Getting to know it was a little different back there. It wasn't quite as aggressive as now.
Hmm.
But yeah, still we had a team. We traveled the same. You leave on Wednesday afternoon and you play a practice round Thursday and it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. You come home and um that formula is still somewhat today in college golf.
Hmm.
And you play a lot of times.
So
Um
what led? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just saying a lot, even though a lot's changed, a lot hadn't changed.
Yeah. What led you to Auburn?
Well, growing up in Decatur, we were kind of for whoever won the football game every year, in your neighborhood. And
Hmm.
but my brother Ricky went to Auburn. My brother Nicky went to Auburn. So I kind of knew when I got old enough to visit Nicky, I just knew it felt like home. And I just kind of just liked the way I felt when I was on that campus. And it
Hmm.
ended up just being just a gift of my life to go to Auburn and love it and get a degree there and go on to work and then get into coaching and then be able to come back home and coach. It just continues to pay me back in all ways.
Mm.
Yeah. So when you got to Auburn, what were you studying, and what was kind of the life? When did you decide that golf was going to be your life's journey?
Probably. So when I got here, I studied health education, and you always dream of playing the LPGA or winning the U.S. Amateur or whatever it was. And I don't know that I worked that hard, during that time, but I played and had fun. I think I probably had a fun-loving college my college years. But I think when I drove away from Auburn, I thought this is important. I think that I can do something in golf, and I always knew that I would. I think I knew even at graduation from high school that I thought I would do something in golf, and so I just think it was always in the back of my mind, whether I taught or worked in the business, that golf was going to be where I made my living and because I had such a passion for it in a lot
Yeah.
of different ways. So, yeah. So, really, when I drove off, well, right after graduation, I was lucky to get a job at Sandestin for my first job and worked for a really, really fine golf professional. He was a mentor and loved him, Paul Bergen. And I just learned the golf business just really at a really big resort and learned a lot about golf and the business of golf. So it was a good plus for me to start my career there.
And
How many shirts? How many shirts have you folded in your lifetime in
Listen,
the golf shop? And
I called it FSU, Folding Shirt University is where we went to college once you hit that big golf shop. I don't know if y'all have been at Sandestin to go up that spiral
Hmm.
staircase, the old links course.
Hmm.
We sold more shirts and t-shirts and caps than you can imagine, and that was a merchandising machine there. So yes, a lot of shirts. But I worked there 6 years, and that's where I got my PGA card. Member of the PGA
Hmm.
of America, and you just learn the business and how to teach, um, ran a ton of golf events and charitable events and um, corporate events and then of course learned to run the shop, the business. So yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was there for 6 years. That was
At this,
82 to 88.
yeah.
The
At this,
big question: if I was to get into one of your drawers, would those shirts be folded the same way as when you were folding them in Sandestin?
Yeah, probably so. I can fold a shirt pretty good. Not as good as I need to. But back then you
uh,
had to do it well because you had somebody looking over your shoulder. We wanted it to
mm.
look real good. But yes, I still fold the same way. But yeah, I
Well,
loved it. I loved living in Destin and Sandestin. And that was before it was so big, so we kind of had
that's
free run down there. Um,
mm-hmm.
so I love that. And then from there I went to Georgia Tech and was assistant men's coach there, and that was life changing to go from living in Decatur and living in Destin, and then all of a sudden living in Atlanta, and that was a great change for me to see uh, really how a
Well, yeah.
big corporate city runs.
I was going to ask you how does a woman get from a golf shop in Sandestin to an assistant men's golf coach at Georgia Tech?
Crazy, right?
Mm,
Well, again, I mentioned Paul Bergen, my mentor, and he had mentored another golf professional named Puggy Blackman.
mm,
They had worked together at Fripp Island and on Hilton Head, and Puggy and him were very best friends. And Puggy would bring down a group called the Atlanta Junior Golf Association to Sandestin, and I help run the event every year. And
mm-hmm.
I got to know Puggy, and I told him I always thought I wanted to coach, and just getting to know him, he said, "I think you'd be great at our at Georgia Tech," and so I he asked me to be his assistant, and I did it, and it was a great experience for me. I learned a lot, and I also ran the Atlanta Junior Golf Association in the summers, which was huge. 1,200
Mm,
juniors playing 30 tournaments a year around the Atlanta metro. So I got to meet so many people and work with so many young people and golf professionals all around. But working at Georgia Tech, working with the guys, learning about collegiate athletics and a different side than what I knew. Um, it was a great experience, and I was there as well 6 years in Atlanta.
So
we
you
yeah,
overlapped a little bit with Stuart Sink
Yeah,
at
I worked
Tech.
for 3 years with Stuart. Sure did.
So we can attribute his success to your tutelage, right?
That's right, even today. But what a great guy Stuart is, and his wife Lisa. I've known him and love
mhm.
him, and think so much of him, and thought so much of him then too as well. He's a really he was a special student athlete, and he's a special guy now. Really is.
Well, Greg refers to him as friend of the podcast because obviously Greg and I have known him for a very long time since I don't know 13 or 14. He was 13 or 14 years old, but Stuart's a frequent guest, and we love having him on. And
Well, he's the best. He's still boy. He plays good, doesn't he?
yes, he's playing real well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you got any Stuart stories for us that
he,
that you can
he was
tell?
so good. I can't think of any. That's just it. He was too good. He was one of those student athletes that was just really outstanding in all categories. So I can't say anything that would other than when you're with him you do smile a lot. You really do. It's always light. And I like that.
He,
Yeah.
I was passing through Atlanta when he was. It was probably his maybe second year. Lisa and he, I think, had just had Connor, and
Right.
they were living in a small apartment, and I stopped by, and of course I bought him dinner. We bought them pizza. I think it was probably an NCAA violation at the time or something, but I just remember them at that point in this small apartment and to where he is or where he got to and where he is now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just at an early age too, he handled it. They handled it like just pros. They really are great people. But yeah, Stuart's a great student, and so was Lisa. Lisa's very smart.
Yeah. So Puggy's a legendary coach, spent a lot of time at Georgia Tech, built a really nice program. You interacted with a lot of guys that went on to become pretty famous on the tour.
Yeah, we had some really great players come through, and still great athlete. I mean, still teaching and coaching in the industry today. So yeah, really, really remarkable program. I was so lucky to be a part of it. Now, Puggy is a different story. There's lots of stories about Puggy you can tell. He was a lot of fun to work for.
I'll bet. I
He had a
know,
camp.
Stuart told us about visiting. It was down to Stanford and Georgia Tech, and he said even though he liked Stanford when he visited, he knew right off the bat though that Tech was the place for him.
Yeah, I think he mentioned that it just felt like it was just a world away, even though it wasn't that far. But just
Yeah. I think it's a great way. Like I said, for me, it was a great to go to a city and really, experience, driving in the city, learning. It was just a great way to grow up when you've come from a small town. But yet, the campus at Tech is small and confined, and it's a great walking campus, a great education. So you got that camaraderie and feel of family there. But when you got to go
mm,
out, it was fun. You felt like you'd accomplished maybe one notch of growing up a little bit.
that's cool.
How long did it take you to apply for the Auburn job when it came open, and get to return kind of back home, so to speak?
Well, I debated a minute or two at first. I really did. I was really happy at in Atlanta and loved what I was doing, and so I didn't just rush out to do it, but uh, I knew that was the only place that I could go from where I was, and so I was just lucky that it came open in '94, and I got it. So yeah, I moved here and literally Auburn was on the quarter system then and didn't start until like the second week in September, and we hosted a tournament like a week later, and so I started September 1 and had a tournament like 2 weeks later hosting it, so it was kind of crazy, but luckily I was experienced to run a golf tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard you talk about one time. Was there a phone call from a certain coach at Auburn that may have influenced your decision?
Coach Dye, he really he did influenced a lot of people. But yeah, I came and spent some time with Coach on an afternoon, and he talked about Auburn and hoped that maybe I could come there and work. And we rode around in his pickup truck one day, and a bird dog sat in the front seat. You know how a dog will lean on you? Like the dog leaned on me for 2 hours straight. Sweetest dog you've ever seen. But yeah, Coach Dye was. He was just that kind of friendly, had a friendly guidance about him with people and he loved Auburn.
What did the program look like when you walked in '94?
It was I mean, it was good. Virginia Derby Grimes was a coach.
Mm.
She'd only coached a few years, and Bud Marcy had taken over. When I was here, the year I left, they discontinued it for a few years and then picked it back up. And Bud Marcy came in, who was a really good coach. They had won a conference championship in '89, um, ran a nice program. And then Virginia took over, and it still was a good program, probably middle of the SEC, real respectable, good recruits. So when I got it, I felt like I got it in great shape in my eyes. I had a couple of really good players on
Mhm.
Marcy Clemens. Craig Clemens from Fort Walton Beach, great family, golf family with Marcy and him. But Marcy came in, a great player at Auburn, two-time All-American, one of the highest academic scholars we had. And then had a player named Katie Galena, who was a freshman my first year as well. They went on to be All-Americans. So yeah, I think I got lucky. I got a great team. We just kept building on it. Every year.
Yeah, how did you manage to elevate the program to what when you got there middle of the pack or a little higher to winning SEC championships, 8 of them, and making the NCAA tournament on a yearly basis?
I think one, Auburn. It's a great education. It's a great campus. We have a lot of golf facilities. Grand National. Uh, at the time, we had Auburn Links. Auburn University Club opened up during that time. Saugahatchee Country Club, Indian Pines. We just had a lot of golf courses in a small area. So for a young lady to come to school here and be able to, drive around and play and practice. Um, but Auburn, our administration just committed to the fact that we felt like we could win here, and gave me what I needed to win. But it all comes down to the players and recruiting, getting to know the kids and convincing them that Auburn, you know, could be the place for them. So I think just trying to recruit and recruit and recruit, and when you get here, just learning how to work hard and set goals and trying to win every day is what it comes down to. Well, so I don't know how I did it, but definitely the players made it happen, and
Sure.
Auburn, yeah, without a doubt. I just kind of got to drive the bus, I guess.
Well,
The
you've got to
good,
put the right people in the right seat on that bus, though.
that's right. You got to learn how to work. You got to be organized and but I really, really wanted to win. I think that's part of it, just not to have a team or to participate, to go and play, but really, what do we need to do to win? How can we win? How can we compete? Be in the last group of the last good day at every tournament. How can we get in that position so we can give ourselves a chance? And we just asked that question a lot, tried to work for it every week. So yeah, it's a great time. I wish I could play that good. I'm a horrible golfer now, so.
Oh,
I doubt that.
I doubt it too. Yeah.
What was your biggest selling point when you got girls on campus to play? Was it the facilities, the courses you got to play, or the university as a whole, or?
I really think the whole package. That's just it. I think Auburn's the whole package. We're 2 hours from Birmingham Airport, an hour and a half from the Atlanta Airport. Columbus, Georgia's right there. We're not far. Just location. Our university is beautiful. It's uh, it is. It's a great education. It's a strong education. Our facilities are second to none. We, at the University Club, we have our Jack Key golf teaching facility, where our locker rooms are and where our coaches are housed, and we have this big part of the range and a four-hole golf area to putt and chip on and hit shots into. So I just think we offered the full package.
Hmm.
We were lucky in that we had it all at Auburn. They still do. They're doing such a great job too.
When you go in '94, and by 2002, I think you get to number one.
We did.
Um, what closed that gap?
Just every year, just the kids getting back, recruiting every year. Your class spreads out. You kind of. I think maybe one of the things we did young and at first and earlier, you recruit more state and regionally, but that map got big. It got real big as the more you coach your coach recruiting international kids. I had a young All American from Rochester, New York. You just have them from all over the country and the world now, and I just think it just expanded the talent. It gave us more talent to choose from.
Was there any one player that you would say made you a better coach?
They all did. Without a doubt,
I knew you'd say that.
that's where you learn your very best, your most from your players and the good ones and the bad ones. I mean,
Mhm.
because you have 8 young ladies on your team or young men, but yeah, you learn something because they've come from their own learning ground. They've had a great golf professional. They've had people that have influenced their lives. So and they've had a workout program. So when they come in, whatever they've been taught or how they've been taught or what they've been doing, you don't want to mess that up. You just want to enhance it. So you learn a lot. You really learn a lot. I would say every single one of my student athletes shaped my life in a way that I was able to learn a lot, and be open to their ideas.
Is not winning the NCAA championship, is that the one gap on your resume?
That's a bad gap for me. Yes. Yeah, I don't feel like I did it all. So, um but I got what I got, and that's where I am. But yeah, that's a real I think about that most every day that we didn't win it. Yeah.
Hmm.
I I love that we got to compete for it, and we were in that last group of the last day a lot of times at the national championship, but never could bring it home. So hopefully this year our women's team will do that. I keep waiting on them to do it.
Both of them are playing well, both
They're good.
teams.
Yeah, they're really good. Really talent, a lot of talent.
But it's not like those other teams weren't trying to win it too.
Oh
So
yeah, it's a lot. And the stars have to line up. You've got to have a lot of luck. You got to have a lot of
Yeah.
patience. You got to be just spot on to kind of be almost at the right place at the right time to get that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's kind of a learned deal too.
yeah, I mean, you look back and talk an NFL comparison would be, the great quarterbacks who never won a Super Bowl.
Right.
I think they always have that regret, but the fact that you were able to take the program and you were in the mix on an almost yearly basis, that's about all you can do. And then it comes down to those other luck factor,
Right.
everything aligning.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for all that. Very grateful to be in the mix and to have that experience and to be able to have those memories. So grateful for it. Grateful to Auburn for the opportunity every year to keeps telling me I still had a job.
Yeah, well, as long as you're winning, they usually keep you around.
I
Yeah.
hope so. But yeah, it's I've been really lucky in my life, and all the fun places I've been able to be and compete and try to get better at golf.
I think
Did
one of the things, and both Chris and I played college golf at University of North Alabama, but
Yeah.
the golf dynamic and maybe the tennis team dynamic, you've got such a small group. And what did you enjoy about the trips to the tournaments and being around your girls?
Mhm.
Well, it's crazy. It's fun chaos. You get six kids in a in a van, and off you go to Athens, Georgia, or wherever, and the music's
Mhm.
loud, and they're singing, and you know, I just think getting to see them in their everyday life, and some study and some sleep, and they're just all so different, and then to I just think those travel times are really special. And of course, there's nothing like sitting there at the end with that trophy that you accomplish what you set out to do. So I think everybody, when they share a win, they share something for life. I think everybody remembers their first tournament win, either as a team or as an individual. And I just think it's a real special feeling. And so we were lucky that we had a lot of those, and we're able to, that ride home was a lot louder and a lot more laughing coming home than going
Sure.
out. So yeah,
Yeah, those are some fun times.
just
I
great
still
times.
remember
Just to
them. Yeah.
travel, eating, and mornings. Just the whole experience of a golf trip. You do. Y'all know it. You leave on Wednesday, you get home on Sunday. You're tired. You got to be in class at 8 o'clock the next morning. It's just all the things you got going on, and because it's a small group, the parents real well. You know who had a test that week. You just know a lot about. You get to know them in a different way when it's a small
Yeah.
group. It's just fun. Yeah.
Was was there a different dynamic coaching the guys at Georgia Tech and
Mm.
coaching young ladies? Were you the mom figure of the girls more than the guys?
No, I don't think I was the mom figure at all. I think I probably made that clear to them that I wanted them to learn to take care of themselves. But it is a different dynamics with the guys. They're not laughing and singing on the way down, in the van. So there is a little difference. But the one thing I do know is both teams were committed to winning, and so I probably learned that at Tech, and then brought it to Auburn, and
Mm-hmm.
so golf is still golf. We still have a golf course to figure out how we can play it really well. And so when you get there, you go to work on that practice round day. Practice round days are long where you're studying the course, and half the team's worried about their swing and the other half just want to get out and play. And so but it was still the same business of how can I be good enough to play this golf course and to beat the other teams. So that hopefully I tried to keep that the focus. But in the meantime, it is fun. Yeah, it is different though with the guys.
What's the one song you can't stand to hear after hearing it on the bus trips?
Oh, well, every year was something, but I used to make the girls listen to Elvis. We had a couple of players that were big Elvis fans. I'm sure the girls didn't like listening to Elvis as much as we did on the road, but uh, we played them all. Survivors, Eye of the Tiger. That was our song. We played that when we came up the driveway of every day of the course, as loud as we
Yeah.
could. I can't tell you how many speakers we blew in that van. So,
That's
but
funny.
I liked them all. I liked them all. But we did. We did. They knew me at the speaker place.
Blowing speakers. That's
Did
great.
How did you determine like who picked dinner that night? Was low score got to pick dinner spot or?
No, we didn't do that. We were, I tried to stay pretty organized with that. We kind of knew ahead of time, where we'd probably eat each meal, and just so we could be prepared. On a Friday night in a college town, you can't just get there at 6 o'clock. So, we were pretty prepared, and making sure we were either picking it up to take it back, or had someone there
Mm.
to, maybe a parent to go ahead of time, or an assistant to go ahead of time and get that spot. But no, I never just let them say, well, you got the low score, you get to pick. But back in our day, I think we did that some.
Yeah.
Or my
Never
day.
did. That never worked out for me.
That me either. I never got to pick.
I never got. I mean, even if I was low score, I didn't get to pick.
Well,
Coach was always picking, and it was usually someplace cheap.
that's it. Always someplace cheap. Always
Yeah.
someplace cheap with a limit.
Yeah. But when I played, and probably when you played, we had a $15 per day per diem that they gave us up front. We'd get on the bus and coach would hand us our $45 for the weekend. And, if you lost it playing cards going down, you were just kind of stuck on your own.
That's right. Well, I think ours
And I
was
lost a
go
lot of
in.
my per diem.
I remember my coach Ron Murphy would say, "You have each of you have $8 for this meal, or four." He kind of looked at it and, all right, each of you. I think he did it that way. I think he was scared to give us all the money at first because he knew we'd go probably buy something else or not eat that week. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the difference between Auburn per diem and UNA's per diem is it was $3 a day.
Mm.
that was a
We
long
we
time
had a
ago.
bad habit of playing tonk. We played tonk a lot on the bus trips and in the
That's too
hotel, and
funny.
you could lose money. You could lose your per diem pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well,
But
it
those
was
those
it
were
was a
those are
great
good
run.
times.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
the times of your life. I encourage any junior golfer at any level, Division 1, 2, or 3, or junior college, if they can go play golf or a sport, to do it, to learn the teamwork, and have those life friendships. I just encourage people all the time to stick with it, and you don't have to play the Division 1 crazy, great competitiveness, but there are so many schools and colleges that
Yeah.
offer great quality teams. Yeah,
I think that's good advice, especially with now with the rule changes that are going
right.
on, and
Exactly.
there will be a lot of people who have the game probably in their mindset on playing for a D1 golf team that because of scholarship limitations and rules and it just may not work out, and they still need to go play somewhere.
And there are
And
a
then,
lot of
and
schools. We're talking about hundreds of schools that are
yeah,
available for our athletes, for our junior athletes to play golf.
You're in the midst of you during your run at Auburn, and then you have the health scare. Can you kind of take us through that battle? And so thankful that you're healthy now.
Yeah, I really got lucky on that. That was probably my biggest lucky card so far in my life, but not going would. But yeah, I had experience. I just didn't feel very well for about a year, and finally they figured out that I had a mass in my stomach. So they they took it out. We're hopeful it wasn't cancer, but it was, and it happened to be a real aggressive cancer. So I was treated at UAB and also here at our cancer center. But yeah, I had a ovarian cancer and had a lot of surgeries and a lot of chemo, and I had to pull out of coaching. And when my oncologist at UAB said, you've got to call your AD, Jay, you're going to be out of work, you're going to be out of this for a couple of years. So it was serious, and I just kept plugging right away. And where we thought it was going to be a longer term um fight, it was still a long fight. And I think with anyone that's had cancer and has had to go through it, you never lose sight of that fight either. It's always there. But I got lucky. But in the middle of all that, I decided that it was a good time for me to retire. Had a great run, and I felt like my focus needed to be on my health to get through that. And it was, when it goes on for a while, it's hard on the team, and you have to have people. I hired a great assistant coach, Andrew Pratt from Tulane, and he came in and ran the program for a while. But that's when I decided to retire and from golf. And I think it was the right decision because I'm with y'all today. But
Mhm.
I do think that it does. When you have to really focus on health, it just seemed like the thing to do. So yeah, I retired and I never looked back. So yeah, that happened in 2000. And I retired in 15, but I got cancer in 13 and may have
Yeah,
had it even in 12 if I
yeah.
look back on how I felt that year.
Well, Kim, we're all from Alabama. This is predominantly a Alabama golf centric type podcast, although we're fortunate enough to be downloaded in every state and about 45 plus countries. But with that, the reason that I say that is, in this state, there's two schools. You're either for one or you're for the other, pretty much. You kind of touched on it earlier about whoever's winning on Saturdays, who back in when you're younger. But I've heard that there's a story about a Alabama coach. That's maybe the reason you didn't delay treatment. Is there some truth to that? And if it is, can you share that
Yeah,
story
I'll
with us?
tell you this story. We were at the SEC championship and staying at the Marriott right there off 280, and we're playing at Greystone. And it was one night, and I I just found out that I had some sort of mass. I'd been to a doctor in Montgomery, and so I was trying to get in to see a doc. They wanted me to go see a doctor at UAB. And so I was trying to get in to see a doctor named Dr. Alvarez, and he was like in China for a month. And I thought, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'll go in July 1 when he's back or whatever. And so I was down one night. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and Susan Rosenstiel, who's the assistant women's coach at Alabama, she coaches with Mick Potter, good friends. And her and her husband were in the indoor pool with their kids. Their kids were young then and running around. And I went down and I got a Coke out of the Coke machine. And I sat down and was watching them play. And Tommy is is an OBGYN. And I told him, that I hadn't been feeling well as we were sat there and talked, and I'm drinking Sprite. And I told him, and he said, Kim, I think you should go sooner than waiting till, you know, July 1 to go. And I said, well, I'll get through the national championship and, in no time I'll be in. So he called me on that. That was on like a Saturday night. He called me on Tuesday morning and said, you have an appointment this Thursday with Warner Huh at UAB. And he said, I won't take no for an answer, and I will come get you and take you. And I went, and it was probably, that fast action. Uh, we knew I needed um, surgery when they did my blood tests. We knew I needed surgery and surgery quick. So we were hosting our regional championship that year, and I had surgery that week, and didn't even wasn't even part of regionals or NCAA's. So it was thanks to Tommy Rosenstiel and Susan, and for me that when you think, oh, I'm thirsty, I'm going to go down and get a Sprite because my stomach hurt, because that had been the main complaint. And when I told him all my deal, he stepped up and said, "You're doing it." So I thought, I'm doing it, and I did, and saved my life. And Susan met me a couple of times at UAB and actually watched me do some of my treatment. So she was really, really a good friend through that time. And Tommy, we still keep up, and Tommy as a cancer survivor as well. So we had some things in common. But yeah, that the opposing team helped me get well and helped me get to the doctor sooner, and probably very unbelievable step in my recovery if I had waited. What that could have been.
Great story.
It is a
Thank you for
great
sharing
story.
that.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. I was going to ask, is there any lessons you've learned from golf that helped you through those tough times?
Love and support. I mean, my doctor told me, and I thought he was, I'm thinking I need to put on a, like machine gun, and I need a bear to go in the ring with me to beat this cancer, and he's sitting there telling me, and he said, really, Coach Evans, and at the end of all this, it's love and support that gets you through. And I'm thinking, what is he talking about? I need some toughness here. And it is exactly what pulls you through. So all those SEC coaches that shaved their head, and the kids that wore rally socks during postseason, and the phone calls, and the from all the various people I competed against and with, and um, just a long list of my life in golf rallied behind me. And you can feel people think and pray for you. You just know it's happening, and it's just a way to get well. And I always tell people, when somebody has cancer, just a phone call, just a note, just a nod that you're thinking about them goes a long way, because that's how you get through it. It's just to keep putting one step in front of the other and fighting, and know that it's a long journey. But
Yeah.
that's what golf taught me, and golf is the game for us. We end up knowing our opponents. We spend 4 and 5 hours out on the golf course. You know them better than anyone, and they become
Yeah.
friends even though they're opponents. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think a strong friendship.
That's
Well,
a beautiful story. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes me want to tear up just hearing it. But what was that moment like when you get the news cancer free?
Pretty fun. Yeah, and it comes quick because you do all the surgeries and you go through all the um treatment, so I'm still pretty sick when I get that, but you feel like you've accomplished a lot. But I don't know if this is right or wrong, but I don't want to get too cocky with cancer. I really respect it, and I know that it's an ongoing, take care of yourself, keep your, it's easy to look in the rearview mirror with cancer. You have to still keep up with it. So I didn't like just, yeah, I won. I was more like, thank you, God, thank you. I'm going to keep working hard at this, and so I still kind of tiptoe lightly with survivorship because I just wanted to, always be in the forefront and not have to look back too much. So, but it was a great, great day. In fact, I got it was in right around October. Um, but yeah, I was pretty sick when I got the news that I was cancer free. Get to ring the bell and do all the fun stuff. And so that's a lot of fun.
It's awesome. Well, you said a minute ago that you coached basically for a couple of years after that diagnosis, but then after retiring from coaching, you working with another group of students at Auburn.
Yeah, I started a program for our student veterans on our campus, and we had some golf clinics, and then we developed a golf tournament, and we paired our student veterans on campus, the Veterans Resource Center, and created a golf program where we learned the game. We had clinics, we would play, and then we now have what's called the Veterans Golf Classic, and we paired 3 community leaders with 1 student veteran. It's it's in 3 Mondays, the 30th, and it sells out in 2 days. It's a great, great time, and yeah, I kind of got a different kind of team, but people I certainly respect. What a great population, and
Mm.
um, these guys and gals have served in some form of fashion, and I have a lot of respect for that. And I just kind of fell into it. It's been a lot of fun, and since I've retired fully, I still do that program for them at
Awesome.
Auburn.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
There's you still got quite a bit going on. I know there's an award. Women's Golf Coaches Association has the Kim Evans Award. How
Mm-hmm.
much are you a part of that in selecting the winners, and how much of an honor is that?
Oh, I can't believe it. They named that with conjunction of the PGA of America, and it's just about um they have a little bit of a criteria that you're a PGA member and that you give back and serve golf uh, as a prerequisite to be awarded that, and they have a committee that votes. I just get to call the person who wins it and say, "Hey, guess what?" So, but I'm really honored by that. It's one of the things I really cherish. I love our coaches association and the friendships that I made through it, and of course, PGA has been, you know, foremost in my career. So, yeah, I'm very proud of that. I love it. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. Well, in addition to that, you've got another induction coming up. Alabama
Dude,
Sports Hall of Fame. Yeah.
oh my goodness, I'm so excited to go and see all those heroes of mine. To go over to, if you hadn't been to the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, it is amazing. And Scott
It
Meyer
really is.
just, oh my gosh! And I've been to a couple of inductions at Virginia Derby Grimes, and I was just
Mm-hmm.
so in awe of all the people there that had won that award. So I'm such a fan of so many people that I'm going to be pretty excited to be there and very grateful, very honored, and again grateful to Auburn for giving me the opportunity that I've had all these years here to coach and to be selected. Yeah, I can't believe it.
Well, congratulations. It's very well deserved. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
In such a football centric state, anytime folks from other sports get inducted, you've done good things, because so often it's football folks that are inducted.
It's
And
football.
the friend of the podcast, Stuart Sink, is in that Hall of Fame.
He
So
sure is. He sure is.
Mm-hmm.
I went and found his locker, his area. Jason Duffner is in it. Just got
Mm-hmm.
in last year. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's some great golfers in there. Some great players. Some great athletes and coaches. Coaches I've studied. I mean, yeah, I cannot believe it. That's one of the things that I really, really could not believe that phone call.
have you started working on your acceptance speech, and how long will it be?
Well, they want you to go 3 minutes, and I need 30. So I don't know how that's going to go down. I don't know what
Mhm.
I'll say. I've thought about it. It really comes down to people that you think, so I don't want to leave anyone out, but I certainly want to say some nice things about some people who helped me get there.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the Oscars, though. You just go over until they just drag you off the stage.
We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. I don't know if I've ever been able to do anything in 3 minutes when it comes to talking. So, yeah.
Well, while we're talking about accolades, I saw something recently on social media where the student athlete lounge was named after you.
Yeah, I know. I've gotten all this lucky stuff. Yeah, at our Key Golf Teaching Facility.
Yeah.
When you walk through the doors, there's a great entrance, and we have a lot of the trophies and memorabilia out. And as you walk through, on the left side are our coaches' offices and a meeting room, but on the right side is a big area where we have a lounge, big,
Mm-hmm.
big TV about the size of my house, you know, couches, pool table, ping pong, a whole area, all the golf bags of professionals around. Really beautiful room, and that's the room that they're going to name in my honor. And I'm really grateful for that as well. As I said, I get to be in a room with a lot of great athletes for years to come. So, because
Awesome.
I know what
Well,
our programs
congratulations
are made
on
of
that as
and our
well. Yeah.
coaches. Thank you. I'm really excited about that.
How much time do you spend around the girls now, the girls golf team, and
As
you know,
little as possible. And I know that sounds crazy, but when Melissa got the job and we hired Melissa, I said, I will not bother you. I will not be underfoot. I will not, unless you need anything from me. And we have a great friendship, and I go and try to watch them play once a year somewhere. And of course, if we're hosting anything, I'm around and there. But yeah, they're nice. I see them around town, or I go and there's various functions that I get invited to. And I know the girls. I mean, I meet them once a year and see them out. But I really have done. Hopefully, that's one of the things I've done real good for Melissa is not to be underfoot. I think it's important those first few years when especially when you have your players on that team, to not be trying to be around. So, and I'm not too much underfoot with Nick either. Nick Kleinert, who's doing a great job. I've known Nick forever too, but yeah, if they need something or want something, I'm the first one in line to do it. But I really just am a fan now and
Mm-hmm.
really watch them do their work because we have some amazing coaches and and athletes, and they're doing such a great job over there. I just love keeping up with them.
when you look back over the course of your career, starting from a player to where things are now, can you believe how golf has become such an important part of the college athletics scene and the massive everything's being built, everybody's trying to outdo the other school and in their facilities.
It's just amazing, and it's where college athletics is. I mean, just with all the facilities. You have to keep up with facilities, and of course now there's all the whole new NIL and the profit sharing and the whole deal. But it is pretty amazing for us to think about our $15 a day for uh, for food and sometimes you might have one or two outfits that match, not the whole time, and uh, yeah, and you might play at one golf course, you know, um, but that was enough. Uh, so yeah, but I kind of I like to see golf grow and get better with players, but also facilities and courses, and so I've enjoyed the growth in golf. Yeah.
We could probably go on with Kim
Yeah.
Well, y'all
for
call me anytime. I'll come on anytime. So
Well, that's
we
awful nice of you. We appreciate it. This, like I said a minute ago, it's a, we like talking about golf. Golf's been very good to us, and we love the game, and we just enjoy getting to connect and share the stories of people around the state, and tell stories that a lot of people don't know. So, thank you so much, Kim, for
well,
coming
I
on.
appreciate you having me on, and I really I can talk more. We just now that I'm trying to play golf a little, it's amazing how bad you realize that you are. I'm not kidding because here I've been working with great athletes, and we have one of my past players, Ann Hutto, owns a place called Moon Golf, and I'm learning even more about club fitting. It's just amazing, and that's been a lot of fun for me to go there and to learn and piddle with that, but I still hadn't found that magic golf club that's going to make me hit it, 20 yards further.
I think it was the Hogan said you got to dig it out of the dirt, and that's going to remain true for hundreds of years.
That's true. Yes, it is. Well, we got a fun one to watch this weekend too. So, yeah.
Talking about golf in Alabama, yesterday, it's probably changed. I haven't looked this morning, but at the end of the day, there's 4 guys that are tied for the lead. 2 of them have Alabama ties with the state.
How about
2
that?
of the 4 leading are Lee Hodges and Sepp Straka, who he lives in Birmingham, and Lee obviously is from up here,
right
in Athens.
I'm in awe of you for everything. Appreciate your making it through your battle. That's just awesome. And we so much appreciate having you on to talk a little bit about your story.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you guys have me. And if you're ever in Auburn, give me a shout. We'll go have some fun.
Go play a quick 9.
We can do it. It'll be quick too. So, yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend. Okay.
Chris, you listen to a story like Kim Evans, and it really reminds you of what this game really gives you. There's wins and there's championships and there's highs and there's lows, but what really lasts in the game of golf are the relationships and the people you impact and how you handle hard moments. Coach Evans represents that as much as anybody we've had on the podcast.
Yeah, Greg, agreed. And guys, if you enjoy this one, share it with someone who loves the game. And be sure to catch us again next week for another edition of the Cart Barn Podcast.